Today I'm taking you to Louisiana for the very first look of the Tombstone home theater. This massive 25-foot by 35-foot Western-themed home theater is unlike anything that you've ever seen. Not only is this a phenomenal theater, you'll hear a heartfelt story of a 78-year-old cowboy named Tully and his deep passion for horses and all things Western. Tully's theater features a gorgeous image from a Sony GTZ 380 projector with a massive 20-foot wide screen from Seymour Screen Excellence and video processing from a MadVR NV Extreme and a huge collection of Western films on Kaleidescape. Behind the custom Western decor lies a state-of-the-art 11.2.6 Wisdom audio speaker system. The equipment room is a home theater enthusiast dream, featuring 3 massive AV racks with easy access to all of the AV gear, projector, whole house audio, and video security system. And just outside the theater room is the town saloon filled with Western memorabilia. We're talking pistols, rifles, bronze carvings, and hand paintings of famous Western figures. So grab your cowboy hat, saddle up, and get ready for an unforgettable ride through the Tombstone home theater. So Tully, thanks so much for inviting us into your beautiful home. You've got an incredible home theater, but you've got an incredible story. And I'd love for you to kind of share with us as we go through this hallway, this beautiful entrance into your home theater, just all of what went into it, and just share your passion and your love. And so here we've got this beautiful painting. So tell me a little bit about this.
Well, going into the theater, I wanted something pretty awesome, and nothing more awesome than a black stallion and mountains in the background. That's representing Colorado.
Right.
And the color is all the changing of the leaves on the aspens. And we wanted a little water, so the artist created exactly what I had in my mind.
So you envision this, and this is a local artist here.
That is correct.
And I've seen a bunch of paintings throughout your home, and so she's featured all over it.
She's awesome.
She's incredibly talented. There's so much texture, there's so much depth. And then even down here, we got this TR. What is TR?
Well, actually, it represents the Circle T Ranch for the cowboy wannabe.
Okay. And that is who?
That would have been me.
I love it. So you're going to see in this home theater, this whole tour, you love cowboys.
I do.
You love horses. You love everything Western, and that is just your heartbeat, Tully. And that story is going to permeate all through this.
Yep, it's the way I was raised up. If there was a John Wayne movie on, no supper tonight. My mom and I sit in front of the TV and we watch John Wayne.
I love it.
And then it was all the rest of them, Roy Rogers and Rifleman, you know, just go on and on. And so Cowboys and Indians we played a lot of, and I've just been that way all the way up to now.
I love it. Well, let's head on down around the corner because you've got so much character to talk about. Let's head down here. So tell me, what did we have here?
Well, what we have is the hat hanging wall. So my son-in-law built this for me, and because he knew I had the collection of cowboy hats.
Right.
And so I was one short, so instead of having the 4th hat, I just went ahead and put my branding iron on there.
Okay, let's take a look at that. So down at the bottom, we've got the TR logo.
Right, right.
Now, is this fully functional, or is this just more prop?
Well, it has been used. I had a home in Colorado.
Right.
And we had some large beams in the home, and I branded a few of them.
That's awesome.
So my brand is there, even though I no longer own the home.
You just place your stamp of approval
Yeah,
on it.
there you go.
Well, I love it. So what is this up here?
That's an extra hat band in case
Okay.
I wanted to change out a hat band or something.
Nice. Now, do you normally, like when you're out and about, do you wear cowboy hats or?
Mostly in the winter,
Okay.
not in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And so I love the decor here. And you said your son built this?
My son-in-law.
Son-in-law.
Yes.
So cool. Now, what would this represent? Would this be maybe
It was a gate at one time, or like a gate in front of a window.
Right.
And so he just let his imagination run away.
I love it.
And there we have it.
So here we are. We haven't even gotten into the theater area.
Not
and
yet.
It's just beyond this door.
Right.
So are we ready to go in?
Well, are you?
Of course I am. I want to bring these guys in there.
All right, here we go. If you're ready, I'm ready.
Tully, you forgot.
What?
Isn't there a tradition before we go into your theater room?
Well, I wanted to get the doors unlocked first.
Okay.
And then you got to put on you got to get your hat on.
All right, so which one would I wear?
This one right
All
here.
right, I like this. So I don't wear many cowboy hats, but I'm absolutely welcoming the tradition.
There you go. There you go.
All right, let's head on in.
And I'll give you a gun when we get in.
Oh, that'll be great. Wow. Tully, this area is almost magical. I'll be honest. This reminds me of what you'd find at an amusement park. I mean, there's so much character, there's so much beauty. But here we've got this magnificent cases all through here. So kind of walk us through why the guns, and is there any story to it, or what'd you like about them?
Well, it's just cowboy guns. Anything related to look like a cowboy 6-shooter, well, I wanted it.
Right.
And so I just picked out a multitude of colors and grips, calibers,
Sure.
and just started collecting them over time.
Now, are these real guns or are these replicas?
These are real operable guns,
Okay.
but they're Uberti or Taylor.
I gotcha.
So they represent the old days.
Yeah. And so we've got some pistols here. What do we have down here?
This is a Navy Colt pistols, and then the pistol rifle, I call it.
Okay.
Though they got another name for it, but
Sure.
that's what I call it.
And then down here, I see some gun shells and casings and.
Yeah, cartridges.
Yeah.
They're harmless. The powder's gone.
Okay. So
Kinda
say,
like me.
but I love what you've done to highlight these. These boxes are gorgeous. The lighting in there is gorgeous. Just really showcases. Again, this is just your heartbeat. And I absolutely love that. So we got some rifles. We got more pistols here. Are these different than the first ones?
No, they're about the same. They
Okay.
just got different barrel lengths.
Okay.
So
And then around the corner, we've got some more cool stuff. Let's step on over there.
we do.
Now, these look a little different than the other ones.
Yeah, they do. They have history. The top one there is a 30-30 lever action. That was my dad's favorite deer hunting rifle. And when he passed away, I inherited it. The 410 shotgun here was my mother's when she was a teenager.
Okay.
And then along came me later on, and when I turned 10 years old, she handed it down to me.
Wow.
So as of about this date, I've had possession of it for about 68 years.
Wow.
And then the bottom one here is the very first gun I bought for myself at age 15 at Western Auto.
Right. Western Auto.
Yep. So that was my first purchase, and so there you have it. Represents my dad, my mom, and myself.
So this is family.
This is family.
I love that. I love that you've integrated that into this home, into your home theater. And then we got a pretty famous guy behind you. Who's this?
Yeah, that's my big brother. Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
Yep, rugged as he may be.
Now, I'm assuming this is the same painter.
No, this is a different
somebody else
painter.
did, okay.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. This is the big shock for me.
Okay.
I had no idea about this.
So this was a
I
surprise.
was gone, Colorado, I come back. My son-in-law got with Arnold. They created this.
Wow.
So when I come in, it was totally 100%. Whoa.
I think it fits the vibe, the theme. And of course, again, you grew up probably watching Clint Eastwood.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, one of your favorites. So over here, there's some beautiful decor. So let's go ahead and step on over here and check this out.
Yeah. All right, Michael. bronze statue,
Okay.
gunfighter,
I can see that.
Porter Rockwell.
Okay.
He was the bodyguard to a famous man, and you didn't mess with him, or this man messed with you.
Okay. So he was a baddie.
He was a baddie. Yeah, he was. So I asked my sculptor to do me a gunfighter, and he says, I've got the perfect one. Porter Rockwell.
Okay.
I said, okay.
So this is handmade.
Yes. He
Wow. So you can
carved it out of clay and
Wow.
whatever the procedure is.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, he had to be mounted right there as a, a door greeter.
Yeah, just a reminder. You're in serious territory here.
You're in serious territory. That's right. That's right. And then this whole area right here, we just walked right into a saloon.
Okay, right.
Yep. And then we've got the couch.
Okay.
You being a Western movie watcher,
All right.
I'm sure you're familiar with this style.
Yeah.
It's often seen in the Westerns.
Sure.
In a bordello,
Okay.
if you will.
Right.
And actually, you're sitting, looks like you're waiting your turn.
Now
That's right, bro. You don't see it.
Oh, okay. So this is your seat.
Yeah. No. I said you was waiting. And then here's the staircase going on up, and that's where the girls are. And everybody's got to make a living, especially in the hard West. Come on. I got some more exciting stuff up here to show you.
But tell me.
So let's go. I know, but we'll come back in a little while.
All right. We'll revisit that.
Okay. All right.
We got some more beautiful guns, and these look like super antique. I've never seen guns this old.
Yeah, well, this is a 1880s. This actually belongs to my son-in-law, and it's a Swiss sniper rifle.
Okay.
Now, I carried it in here, and I felt like I was carrying the horse that should have been carrying the gun.
Right.
That thing is heavy.
Right.
If you've seen Quigley Down Under, replica of the Sharps,
Okay.
50, that was in Quigley Down Under.
Sure.
Tombstone, OK Corral,
Okay.
12 gauge double barrel. Wyatt Earp handed it off to Doc Holliday.
Nice.
These guns here were the choice guns in the Billy the Kid day.
Okay.
So I just can't tell you what caliber they are.
Sure.
I just know that they were his.
That's what they
choice
would have
guns.
carried, and you wanted to replicate that and
Yeah.
and to showcase that because again, that's part of your story. I just love the intricate design and even the color that we're getting here in the actual metal. That's just beautiful. Now down here, what is this over here?
Well, this here is the belt buckle that I got from my dad. That's got his birth year, 1921, for him. And then I had this knife special made for him down in Mexico on a trip down there. If you flipped it over, his LL Tully is on the blade on the other side. But I wanted to show the rip it's Mexican. So anyway, it's just something that's been here a long time. Mine.
But it's more than that.
Yeah,
this
it
is
is.
like this is your heart, and this whole time I've hung out with you today, I grin from ear to ear because I hear the passion that you have for family, for friends, for Western, for movies. I love it. This is exciting to me, and this is just a beautiful story. We also have some Indian.
Yes,
What's
you
this?
can't have anything Western without a few pieces of Indian paraphernalia. So the spear, quiver, arrows, bow, right there.
And then we got some more guns here.
We've got the ivory grip. We've got the walnut grip, and this one is the pearl grip. So I was basically just showing off the grips.
Now this down here is really unique, like extremely unique.
Yes, that knife was handmade, special for me by a friend of mine, an old timer that has made knives all his life.
Yeah.
My friend had him make this knife for me, put my brand on the blade, and I may be mistaken. I don't know for sure, but I think this might have been the last knife he made.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a very special knife, two ways. Number one, my friend that gave it to me.
Sure.
Number two, the man that made it. It might be his last one. I'm gonna have to double check that and make sure.
Well, it's just so super gorgeous. I love how you've got your branding in here, and just even the design on the metal itself. Just truly a special piece.
Yeah, it is indeed. So, Michael, I just got a collection of long guns, yellow boys, and then just guns.
So what's a yellow boy?
A yellow boy is the brass color.
Oh, okay.
So the Indians called it a yellow boy
Okay.
in the cowboy movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, that represents the yellow boy,
Okay.
which it is.
Now,
And,
why do we have a much bigger piece here? And I don't know what that's called. The handle?
lever action.
Lever action, okay.
And similar to the one the rifleman
Okay.
done. Even John Wayne, one of his movies, he had one where he could flip the rifle and
Right.
cock it, and just
Maybe just
It
different
is what
design.
it is.
Okay, different design there.
yes.
And again, we got more casings down here and shells, and then
Yep. And then I had my sculptor do a bronze. He actually made the leather belt. He actually made the leather holster.
Wow.
And then he used his own 6-shooter. And then he made the mold. And then this is poured solid brass.
Solid brass.
Take a hold of that.
oh my goodness. Yeah, that's heavy. Oh my goodness. Probably 30, 40 pounds?
Yes.
Wow. And that's so gorgeous. And there's so much detail in here. I hope you guys on the other end of the screen can see all of this. Absolutely beautiful. And this is a beautiful showcase.
Yes, sir. It's more bronze. I had Gibby, told him that I wanted a U.S. Marshal and a deputy. So we ended up with a U.S. Marshal, and this happens to be his deputy right here. So he done an outstanding job on both. The mama bear with her cubs.
Yeah.
This was something he'd done for me so I could see it physically before I had him do a life size.
Okay.
And the life size is out in the courtyard.
I saw that.
You saw that,
Oh my
huh?
goodness, when we came up, that thing was huge.
Yeah. So anyway, these are actually 6-shooters as well.
Okay.
The holsters have been roughed up a little bit to make sure they look like they've been wear and tear
Sure, and used.
So they're just on display.
Right.
The pistol here was a gift from my son-in-law. It's got cartridges on the chamber,
Okay.
and then in the center is a 410 or a 20 gauge shotgun, whichever it is. So, but anyway, it all come together nicely, and I'm happy with it.
It's gorgeous. And she looks like she could take care of some business.
Yes, she knew how to push the envelope. So, Michael, I would like for you to do something for me. I'd like for you to spin around.
Well, sure. Like this way?
Stand right between these two doors, if you would. And I know you've seen the blue button, wondered what the blue button's all about.
All right.
Well, you're fixing to find out.
Okay.
So when I push the blue button, I want you to know you're stepping into the town of Tombstone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me. This is phenomenal. Tully, what in the world have you done? I can't even imagine that we're inside your home. You've transported me to a whole different place, a whole different location.
Yeah, we just come out of the hallway of the saloon,
Yeah.
and now we've had our fun,
Right.
and now we're going out into the street.
Sure.
So the carpet represents the street.
Okay.
So we just walk on out here in the dirt.
Nice.
And then when you do a little turnaround, you'll see all of the establishments.
So what do we have here? Like, what do these represent?
Well, Old Tully's, a little Irish in me, so my name ended up in that. So that's my saloon over here.
Right.
And if I go over here and punch the little blue button. Now we turn back and look at the Union House, my competitor.
Okay.
Right here. So that's the two saloons across the street from one another.
Okay.
All right. Then you got your Union Bank.
All right.
So when the old cowboy comes out, the saloon broke, he robs the bank. Well, we got the jail right next door.
He got in trouble.
So anyway, we'll give him a night's stay right there.
Right.
So when we get back here to the blacksmith shop, Lester's Blacksmith.
Okay.
Lester is my dad's first name, so I used his name.
Love it.
And my dad's brother, my Uncle Alan, so I used his name on the barbershop.
Sure.
And then my mom, Grace, is her first name.
Wow.
So Grace is Mercantile.
I love it.
So I'm sitting in here in Tombstone with my family.
Right. Again, this whole theme is more than just decorations. It's more than just something kind of fun and something different. This means something so much deeper to you, and I love that, Tully.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I got to give all the credit to my son-in-law. You know, he asked me, he says, I know you want a Western theme,
Right.
so what do you, give me an idea. And so I spit out about 22 words, and he said, I got it. I think I went to Colorado.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is start to finish, Charlie Dice.
Yeah. And so not long ago, about a year ago, I was here in Louisiana. We filmed Charlie's home theater. He's the one that has the Star Wars theme, the real big one. And so we're going to I'm going to actually bring Charlie in just a little bit, and we're going to talk about more about the equipment and the projector and the screen. We're going to tell you all about that. But I wanted you to first hear just the heartbeat behind this incredible, incredible home theater. This is phenomenal. This is truly a work of art. And you can see right now like how much joy this room and this whole area brings you.
It does. Means a lot.
It should. And to me, I mean, I know in my family means everything to me. That's why we do this. We don't do this just for us. If it was just for us, it'd be boring.
Yes.
But I wanted to share your story with my audience because this is precious. It really is. Several of the things that, even when we were talking off camera, honestly, it got me choked up because it's more than just memorabilia. It's more than just guns. It's more than just a Western theme. It's your heartbeat, Tully. It's who you are. It's like ingrained way in here in your heart. And I love that about this.
Yep. Yep. It is indeed. A dream you never knew you had. And then all of a sudden, there it is. Kind of unbelievable. Well, Michael, what you think?
Tully, I love it. I mean, this is gorgeous. There's so many intricate details. It's your story, your heartbeat, your passion. And I have truly been honored to be in your home and to experience this firsthand.
Well, I'm honored to have you here. That is for sure. And I appreciate you coming. So what we're going to do, we're just going to call it a day. I'm going to let my son-in-law pick up from here, take it on to the rest of the way. And I'm just going to drift right on out that door and watch the sunset.
Well, I love it. Tully, it's been a pleasure, sir.
You bet.
I
Same
appreciate
here. You bet.
Take care.
You bet. See ya.
Michael, can you believe you're back here in Woodward, Louisiana, back on the hill? This time you're like 300 feet from my house.
Yeah.
And now we're in my father-in-law's house.
This is pretty cool, really. So,
And we're in cowboy hats. Imagine that.
Would you guys have ever dreamed seeing me in a cowboy hat?
It feels good. I mean, it feels good to be back in swing on the hill. And, you know, I can say this project that we've got involved over here has been very exciting. It was a proud moment to finish. There's a lot of detail in this as well. And I can't wait to dive deep into it.
Yeah.
You know?
So we filmed yours about a year ago.
Right.
That was the Star Wars home theater. Magnificent home theater. You designed and planned and were instrumental and really hands-on on a lot of that project. And here now you have a year later, your father-in-law wanted to do something similar, but he's not interested in Star Wars.
No.
As we heard Tully's heart, man, he's passionate about cowboys and horses and guns and Western and cowboy hats.
Right, right. Yeah, whenever Atlanta home theater was almost complete over there at my house and all the testing was being done, and he came in, and I think the first time he heard the system, to see it run with the calibrations, and even though we had some minor things going on in the house to complete, he was really impressed with the picture, the screen, the size. He was impressed with all of it, and he was like, I got to have one of these too.
Yeah.
You know, and can we do one? Absolutely. So he got with Jeff Burns, the architect that did my house, also has done this house. Yeah. And Jeff pretty much, he said, I want the same thing. I want same drawings, everything is the same.
Same size room,
same everything.
speakers.
Yes. So basically, we started out with the same CAD drawings that Atlanta provided with the layout of all the zone speakers and all of the front and the baffles and the projector and the risers. Yeah. It's all the same as me. The only thing that's changed is that his amp rack room is located in the rear of his theater room.
Right.
And mine was in the hallway going in. The other thing that we had to contend with for his theater room is he actually has 2 hallways that lead into it, which I'm kind of jealous of because I only have one.
It was cool, man.
Yeah, so it's like you got this one hallway and then you tie into another. And we made some modifications along the way. You know, originally when you came in his first hallway, there was the stairwell you see going up to nowhere, to the attic.
Yeah.
That was a wall with a door. And I said, one day Tully was in from traveling because he travels a lot.
Yeah.
Tully, don't kill me, but what you think about us cutting this wall out? Well, I think we can reinforce the ceiling. We'll put some LVL beams. We'll get the load carried. It'll be safe. I just think if we can open her up so when you come in, you have all this space. Yeah. And then I think it'd be cool if we have an old-timey stairs that go up to get that hotel brothel look to it. Yeah. He goes, I like that. Let's do it. So we blew out that sheetrock wall. We tore everything out. We had to reinforce. We rebuild, and it turned out great. Then he also told me, hey, I got another idea I want to do. You know, I have all these replicas of these pistols and rifles that he likes to have, and basically they're not a rare collection, but they are Ubertis and Taylor firearms, and they're replicas of the famous Colts and the other weapons used in the Wild Wild West. Right. So he's really big into that. Yeah. So he said, I want my boxes to be inset into the wall when we come through. You got it. We'll figure this out. I don't know how we're going to pull it off, but we're going to do it. So we ended up having to add some hallway space and then make his walls a lot thicker and when you come in so that you could have these deep pockets in the wall to accept the gun boxes.
That makes sense.
So we had many challenges that were laid out. Now, the room when we're sitting in now, you know, Star Wars was easy for me, technically. It's just a lot of work, a lot of MDF, a lot of cutting, painting, a lot of electronics for all the Star Wars stuff. This room is different. The carpenters were heavily involved in this room by actually building these little facade buildings the way you would build it back in the old days, in the 1880s, 90s. Right. And we didn't go, I really pushed hard on them. I don't want to use lightweight materials. I want to use real studs, 2x4s. I want to use real material. Okay. I'm looking for the authentic cypress. I'm looking for cedar, pine. I'm looking for anything that they would have used. The painting of the buildings also, there is no paint in here. This, believe it or not, is a colored stain.
Okay, interesting.
It gives you kind of a, not a pure white, but like a whitewash white, because there was a lot of paints developed back in those days. We're not there yet. The plastic has not been invented. Sure. That's what gives us our beautiful paint today is plastics. But so I was studying colors. How did they make paints back in the day? And all the way down to the audio system with Atlanta Home Theater. They were involved again. And the system is the same as mine, with the exception, the Atmos. His Atmos speakers are different than mine. And I think in his amp rack, his Trinnov, he runs amplifiers made by Trinnov.
Sure.
Where I'm running ATIs.
Right. So one thing I want to do is, we didn't really capture this in talking with Tully, but when you first come into that hallway, walk us through what we would actually experience. Like if you guys were able to come and visit here, because there's some things audibly that we weren't able to show because we wanted you to be able to hear me and Tully having this conversation. But it's a cool vibe.
Yes, so what I'm trying to pull off visually in my head is that you enter into his theater room experience, you start out basically in the hallway of a brothel hotel.
Right.
You're in the back hallways. So it's dark, it's musky, it's got the little bit fancier woodwork. It has some fabric that's been stuffed on the walls. Even the lighting that you see, the sconces and the chandeliers are they're new, they're reproduction, but they resemble old gas lights back in the old days.
Sure.
So I wanted it to have this really dark, mysterious brothel feel to it.
Yeah.
And as you come in, another neat thing I wanted to do, and that surprised my father-in-law, by the way, he didn't know this. I wanted to take as many of the old westerns that he likes, and I went and got all the shooting scenes, and I edited it out in my computer.
Yeah.
Converted it all to black and white. I'm also a musician, so in my studio, I went and created some background music using old antique musical instruments. And I added a little more new age, low-end rumble to it.
Okay.
But so when you're coming through, you're hearing this twang of a guitar, you hear the mandolin playing out of tune.
Right.
And then you hear footsteps above you.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention, the footsteps creak across the hallways.
Yeah.
And if you really listen, you can hear mumbling of arguments between a man and a woman, which we all know that's going upstairs.
Yeah.
So all of that was created in my studio, created with the left and right tracks. I had to get with Atlanta on a player to play that back through Control 4.
Right.
So my father-in-law is very, he's a one-button guy.
Yeah.
He wants to be able to pull out his phone and hit
100%.
one button when he's got his guests,
Yep.
and basically the whole experience
The
goes into
show
what we call
starts.
show mode.
Yeah.
So the lights in here are all off, everything fires up, the music starts, it's all on the loops, it auto plays. As you go down through the experience of the hallways and he gives you his tour, when you get to your seats, when he goes and hits watch on his Control 4 remote, and say Kaleidescape,
Right.
it's automatically, it cuts the lights down, it kills the music,
Yeah.
it shuts it into movie mode.
Yeah.
And from that point, it's a whole different feel and a vibe.
Yeah.
So I think the ambience is what when you come in this
100%.
hallway is like, hey, I'm really
This
in
is not
an
a house.
authentic.
This is not a house anymore.
It's not a house,
You
no.
know, we have stepped into another dimension. We stepped into another culture, another time period.
Exactly.
I mean, it's incredible, and I hope we were able to capture that while Tully and I were walking down. And so you hear all these ambient sounds, and of course the beautiful cases with all the great lighting and all these, components, the things that he loves, the guns, the statues are beautiful. And then when we open up, I noticed you did the same Star Wars automatic
Yes,
door,
with
but
the auto
you
door.
wanted that a little different too.
Well, he told me, he said, I really like your airlock door. When you press the button, it opens. He said, can you make it to where it peels back 2 doors? Yeah, there's no problem. The company sells a double slider door for that heavy of weight.
Yeah.
So I reached out to our local millwork shop, and they built, those doors are made out of cherry. And the cabinets are cherry, the gun boxes are cherry, and then the rest of the building is mostly pine and some cypress.
Yeah.
And I think what we were trying to achieve here was, can we get the doors to pocket back, and can we have the button, the button itself that launches the door, to blend in with the setting. Now, it is a little modern piece you still see with the light.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've researched and tried. It's not the end of the world yet. I'm still playing at trying to take a shotgun shell and put like an antique brass shotgun shell, and actually put in the button in it. And have it to where you press it.
Nice.
But it's a tough journey to do. So for right now, I found an antique rosette, and that I drilled out, and we actually put the button to the door on both sides to bring it a nice little class to it.
Sure.
And it's the only modern light in the whole facility, which it's okay. I mean, nobody's complained yet.
No, it's cool feed, and he loves showing it all.
Yes.
He loves showing me, and he said, man, every time I have somebody that comes over to my home theater, I'm like, I want you to turn just like you did with me. I want you to turn and face the door.
Stand right here.
And you just wait, because they'd never seen this, just like I hadn't seen it. And then he hits that door, and then their face just goes, you gotta be kidding me. This
now,
is
Michael,
cool.
you got to understand, a long time ago when this room was being conceived, when he said, I want to do a Western themed theater room, I was thinking, okay, so we're going to have like brown leather seats. We're going to do probably gigantic posters with John Wayne and Clint Eastwood. And we might do some old ropes and some, just aesthetics. And he's like, no, I'm kind of wanting to do something. He said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make this that is if it was your own and you were going to beat your room.
Wow.
And I was like,
that's a hard.
Oh, Charlie, how do you beat your Star Wars room?
Yeah.
So I had to take my mind and put it into a new mode of, okay, I own this.
Right.
If I don't like
This
Star
is
Wars,
for me. Right.
and I'm a Western freak, what would I do? What's no stops? And so I sat down with Jeff Burns, the architect. He gave me a naked room of the picture of the room in 3D. I started penciling and drawing these facades. And then I was, of course, Google Images is your best friend to looking up cowboy buildings.
Right.
And ultimately, you just have to draw the buildings by hand with pencil and the design. And basically, you got to sit down with these carpenters, and the good thing about them is they understand house building, and we're building little houses.
Right.
It's just the 2 feet of them sticking out in here.
Exactly.
And some of them are a little different when they're protruding out. Yeah. But really, it's like building a real cabin or a house, and that allowed him to feel like when I step out of the hallway and you open up those double doors, you're in the street.
Right.
So I thought, well, what can we do for the street? Got to do some type of carpet. So we picked out a carpet that would represent dirt of the Midwest.
Yep.
And then I thought, well, you know what? The wood floors can go up the front and the sides and basically give us that boardwalk what the Western town would have. And I think we achieved it. I think we pulled it off.
That's phenomenal.
And he is so happy and pleased. And he stays gone all the time while we were building. He would save months at a time.
Right.
And I'm the type person, I'm not going to send him pictures.
Right. Just surprised.
It's like, he'll be home, y'all, in 3 weeks. We got to get this much done. And he would come in here and we would just shock him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then he'd come in, pack up, and he'd be on the road again.
Yeah.
And so basically, every time he'd come in, we always had something new to show him. And I'll never forget, he came in, we had the idea of the Clint Eastwood at the end. So our local electrical company here, Joe Arnold Electric, that worked miracles at my house, Joe is a painter. I said, Joe, I have a picture of Clint Eastwood. Can you paint this?
Right.
I've never done one before. I'm going to try it. And I want you to we're going to go to Home Depot and buy a door, a solid core door. And I want you to paint the whole 6-foot Clint Eastwood.
Right.
And I would like to put it at the end of the hallway, life size. I want to have it wrapped in a gold gaudy frame. And then I'm going to search for a light that can frame just it. So that happened.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, we had it all running, and he came home, a couple weeks later, and he walked in. I said, I want to show you something. And his gun boxes were actually lit up then. And the lights were on them, and the guns were not in them yet.
Yeah.
But the lights were running and the boxes, and you could see the flow in the hallway. And then, by the way, come around this corner, and he's like, man.
Oh.
He said, I like that. He's like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And it's all about dreaming it and visioning it for him, you know, and that's the way I am. You give me an idea, a project, and my mind starts spinning 100 miles an hour, and I'll see what I can do to go through to the ends of the earth, to Utah and back, to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know? And I think we've done a pretty decent job at it on this job, on this project.
Charlie, you're such a creative, and I really believe that. Your mind thinks outside the box, like way outside the box. And sometimes when somebody looks at this, maybe you guys are looking at the room, you're going, well, yeah, it looks cool, but how do you kind of marry aesthetics with performance? And there were some challenges here because you got to put X amount of speakers. Where do you put those? And so you creatively placed the Wisdom Audio speakers in the windows.
That was the hardest thing on this project. You have to have, so Atlanta would have the CAD drawings of the room and where the first bed layer for front, left and right needs to be.
Yeah.
That magic number those speakers have to be there on the side fields.
Right.
So what we would do is to say, okay, this is the scale. We work in true off a scale. These little buildings would have to fall to where the door and the windows, one of the windows, the speakers could be shooting through it.
Yep.
Which means that I have to have a mill workshop build these window insets with no glass, with the Mullins, and I got to have acoustical grill cloth to shoot through.
Sure.
And I have to have the windows removable.
Yeah.
What if the speaker
Sure.
has a problem?
Some fails, a driver
it needs to
fails,
be
you want to go to
replaced.
service it.
It was a challenge, but let me tell you, once the alignment worked out and we were confirmed on all the measurements, it started falling together pretty easy. And another thing you probably don't notice here, the buildings are not true scale. The doors are not real wide, they're real width doors. They're not standard 3.0 or 2.8, doors. They're a little smaller. We're doing a trick with the eyes, just like what Disney does. We're using forced perspective on you.
Okay.
Like in here right now, the windows up top, they look like normal windows. But if I brought one down and set it here right now, it's much smaller than you think. Because we're tricking you.
That's awesome. And I didn't notice that.
No,
on the doors or anything.
So you have to, when you're dealing with forced perspective, when you start at the bottom, the door here is barely like 5'11", 6 foot. Well, most doors are going to be 7'8" or on 8 footers.
Yeah.
So we trick you with the height, but as we go up on that second story on the 2 ground level buildings, we cheat you on the field. And that's what gives you this height, because we're limited to 16 feet. So that was a challenge to get all that forced perspective in. Then we had to figure out, how do we light this room? Well, we hadn't got to the audio complications yet, but lighting the room was tricky. We introduced some lighting in here from Lotus. That's a light that can spin way out on its axis. It's not a gimbal that does 30 degrees. I nickname them cat bowls. Why? Don't ask me what it comes from, but the way they swing, it's like a bowl that you'd pour milk in for a cat. And what that does is that shoots the light back onto the buildings at the right angle to give you the shadowing down the buildings to tell the story.
Yeah.
So that, plus all the Atmos, the FX speakers. I have 4 big speakers in here that are playing the wagons, the horses, the people in the city.
So that's one thing we didn't mention is when you walk into this space, you have a different sound because, again, you're walking out of the inside building. Now you're going out to this street, and so you're hearing horses and carriages,
conversations.
You're hearing
dogs,
the people walking on the hard or the hard wood on the outskirts of the town.
I put gunshots.
Yeah,
they're ringing out different levels. But what's really cool is I also created another track of the ragtime piano that comes.
That's playing in a window over here.
2 windows across from us have 2 big speakers that protrude out with sound of the ragtime piano with a ambient crowd noise around the piano player, and like a fun time in an 1880s bar. So all of that's playing at one time as you're in this room.
And that's kind of like 2 separate systems because you got the Atmos system, which is what we're using, of course, to watch the movies.
That's correct.
But then you got this separate system that is playing this ambient noise until Tully is, watch Kaleidescape. Then those dim down.
Yes.
That system pretty much shuts off. Then this new system fires up the Trinnov, MadVR,
Right.
the GTZ 380 projector, all that fires up, and then now you're in that Atmos experience as well.
It's the ceiling. I've been told it's got the most holes in the ceiling ever been made.
You got lights.
So light, sound,
yeah,
Atmos,
yeah.
air
vents.
conditioned ducts,
Yeah.
fire detection, security camera.
Yeah.
There's so many holes up there in that ceiling that we were, one day we were like, the air units were turned on in here, and I'm like, it really is no good to turn the air unit on. All the air is escaping out through all the holes.
Yeah.
And so we ended up just taping all the holes up with
Right.
tape until we could get everything put in.
And it's pitch black up there, so it just
Yes.
disappears. It's like the night sky is what you really feel like when you walk in here.
I used a 1x1, 1/4 inch thick. It's a peel and stick, basically an acoustical block
Right.
that I bought, and we bought them by like 30 to a case.
Yeah.
And not only did we peel and stick them on the walls, which I have over at the Empire Galactic Theater,
Right.
it's also on the ceiling. I wanted you to walk in, and I wanted to have, it's hard to make black,
Sure.
especially with paint. So
There's reflections.
these panels are black and dark, so we went all up the ceilings. Even in between the little houses, we have that.
Yeah. And I see them even up here around the screen, top
Right.
and bottom.
It
even in
gives
the
you that
back corner.
separation.
Yeah.
Makes you feel like you're kind of walking into town in the evening or at night. And it's not nighttime because we would have had stars.
Sure.
But it just gives you that separation of feeling that you really are in the streets with the little buildings. But then we have to deal with sound.
Yeah.
It's great to build a themed walled room, right? And people's done this in amusement parks, but we're talking about now a home theater.
Yeah.
So my father-in-law is probably less than me, totally is, when it comes to the quality of sound and the volume of sound. I was chasing down good sound much better than a cinema.
Right. Like your local cinema.
Yeah.
Yep. That was your goal.
That was my goal. And he's probably under me as far as his expectations. He's heard my system many times.
Sure. He wants it
being
to
demoed.
sound great.
Yes.
But he's not going for massive bass.
No,
He's not
no,
going for ear bleeding levels.
No,
you know.
he's not
He'll
going to push
hit
people's
that.
hair back. But
He doesn't want a 50-inch Ascendo subwoofer.
I do. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
He doesn't at all.
No, that would
but
be.
He had different desires. He had different wants and dreams of what he wanted in this. But again, he wanted great equipment.
Yes.
He wanted it easy to use. He wanted functional, of course.
One button.
Yeah.
Hit one button, one thing.
I mean, Tully's a few years older than me, and so that's, and the reality, when you think about it, I come across as anti-Control 4, but it's only because it's not the right program for me, because I want full control of it. I want to be able to program this, add this, I review all this equipment. But then you have a gentleman like Tully, he doesn't want to figure out nothing.
Right.
He wants to be able to pick up a remote that's simple, hit this, and it does. Because think about it. You've got complex lighting schemes and this, the music that's playing in the background. You've got projector inputs. He doesn't need to deal with any of that. He doesn't need to try to figure that stuff out. But he was picking it up today. He's like, yep, you hit these 3 buttons here, boop, boop, boom. Or
Yeah,
you pick
we
this
watched
up.
this whole room just transform before our eyes.
You
that
pick
quick.
this up, boom, and if he wants to switch to Apple TV, boom,
Yeah.
one button. Hit this, and so, a custom integrator is able to make those things integrate into a system, even a complex system, and make it really easy to use. And so I think it's a phenomenal platform, but it's just not personally for me because, like I said, I review so much stuff. I need to be able to add this component, to add this delay. I need to be able to change this. And so you're limited in that with this. You have to call Atlanta Home Theater if you want to. Maybe if you want to change something, maybe if you want this to happen, or maybe you want to change the brightness of the LEDs out there, you don't really have that ability to do it. So that's just the trade-off there.
Yeah, and that works great for him.
100%.
And my system's about the same.
Yeah.
I have probably a lot of more deeper knowledge into not the programming side, but how the operation of it. But for my father-in-law, he's a one-button guy. But Atlanta Home Theater nailed it. Their tech team and nailed it. You hit one button, it does it. You hit one button, you walk out, and it's great. I think it's a great tool to have for these type of people, you know. And the system that they put in is the same as me. We're running a Altitude 32 back there.
Trinnov, right?
We're running the MadVR.
Right.
For the color correction and the 3D LUTs. We're also running the Ascendo.
Ascendo.
I know, we joked about this today.
I think he likes to just say that.
Well, it's a French Cajun thing down here where we're at, so it's either tomato or tomato.
Okay, I got you.
Ascendo.
Yeah.
Ascendo, he's got a 10,000 watt amp that he's running on his STS Wisdom subwoofers. He's using the Line 2 Sage 2s in the front, middle, and right.
Right. So this is the same exact system
yeah,
for
L8
the
eyes
most part.
around the fields and in the rears. The tops, I think mine were the P2 eyes. I'm not for sure what this model is actually.
His are more of a round.
They're
I think yours
round.
are long and his are round, kind of more like your traditional in-ceiling speaker.
Yeah, but I think they give you more punch. What I understand, and you know, the acoustics of the room it's very similar to my room. You would think all this wood's going to give you this crazy reflections, but we're sitting here right now.
No echo.
I mean, no echo in this room.
This is probably the most echoey thing is this table that we've got in front of us.
Every window you see in here that has black behind it,
That's
if it doesn't have a speaker, it actually has deep studio foam.
Yeah.
And that helps absorb the carpet, the seating, the ceiling. Everything is helping. And look, the Wisdom products, the way the speakers are made, and with the Trinnov, the ability for them to calibrate. I mean, I understand their products. You can take something really bad and turn it into good. So I think it sounds great. His room has a little bit different character sound than mine. And I think my room his room is probably 8 inches narrower than me. And I don't know if that did anything to the sound acoustically. And you've heard the difference.
I think it's probably just more literally the acoustics of the room.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a different texture. You've got different elements. You've got, different wood floor. He's got wood and carpet. So there's a combination there. So I think there's just a lot of reasons that would change the actual acoustic properties, because we know you can take great products and put it in a terrible sounding room. It's going to sound terrible. You can take a mediocre speaker and system, put it in a great sounding room, and those speakers are going to sound pretty good. You know?
Right.
So I think it's just a combination of, it's just a different room.
Right.
All right, Charlie, we've spent some time in here talking about all the features, but all the complexity to make this theater function happens behind this room, correct?
That's correct.
Walk us through like what's in there, and it has a totally different vibe. It's not Western themed.
Right.
So
right.
why in
It's
the
more
world?
modern.
Yeah, why isn't it Western themed? So walk us through as we enter that door. What can we see? What do we see?
So originally on his house plans, long ago, he had this big closet back behind there. We've known that the projector is going to live in that closet, shooting through the wall.
Right.
What I was struggling with is getting this 15 million wires that's got to go through all these speaker locations back to this room.
Yeah.
And I'm also concerned about accessing the racks, because in my racks, in my experience, they're facing the hallway.
Correct.
And then I have a door off the garage that takes you to the rear. In his room, we didn't have the room. And so we drew some ideas and said, I got an idea, and I told Jeff, let's think of it like a server room in a commercial business. They have the elevated floor.
Yeah.
And then we'll have some steps we come into and go up.
Yeah.
We can do 3 big access hatches.
The grates on the
Grates.
floor. Yeah.
And we'll do a grate system that's removable, and there's enough room you can drop down.
Okay.
And I think we have some B-roll of the electrician. He is up underneath there waving at us.
Nice.
It's funny.
Okay.
And So all the wiring runs from rack to rack to rack is taking place down and
Underneath that
under,
comes up,
right?
yeah.
But it also back feeds in some big pipes. And I like to run pipes.
That's conduit.
You can't have conduit. You
Yeah.
can't have enough conduit in the walls of anything.
Sure.
In that back room, we had a couple journeys. Number one, we have a 15 kW
Okay.
battery UPS backup in the racks. So everything is tied into it. So if we have a power failure, like right now,
Right.
we stay running. The system never shuts down. The movie keeps playing. The audio keeps tracking. And basically, the generator for the whole house will kick on. And you'll never hear the switch. You'll never feel the switch. And it's enough to run all the equipment for the 6 seconds that we need for the 70 kW. It's a Cummins Onan generator to run the house.
Okay.
So that's one thing we have in the back. We also have his alarm system. Components are back there. We also have his security cameras. And he has a 17-inch in the racks where you could go back there and service. The alarm guys can service the MVR. He also has a place up in his sitting room where he can sit with a mouse and actually click on his cameras. He has a couple cameras that you can zoom in, and look at the alligators on the bayou in the backyard.
Or maybe look at those horses, those wild horses we ran into today.
Yes, he can zoom in on the wild horses
I actually
that
got
we
a
have.
chance to walk up to those and.
So, and we also have his internet coming in, which is fiber optic. And the whole house system. So he also has speakers throughout the house. He is running the Sonos Fabers on back porch, Sonos Fabers in his sitting room, Sonos Fabers in his living room, and basically those amps live back there as well. He has an amp for the outside future, whether he wants to put a pull in. As you can see outside, he's just starting landscaping beds. Once that's done, that'll complete the house on the outside.
Sure.
Basically, in that room, we move up, we got, the projector.
Yeah.
So I never had the luxury in Star Wars to show off my projector.
Right, yeah. We didn't
It's in another room.
Right, yeah.
But it's in the second story of an attic that's air conditioned.
Yeah.
But you can't really it's hard to get access to it unless you need to maintenance it. In his room, we're going to see it.
Yeah.
So I got with my local welder, and he has a CNC machine and with aluminum, and I designed on a piece of paper a L bracket that's three-dimensional, that's got cool lights inside it, it's got the modern look.
Yeah.
It almost has a Star Wars look, don't it?
Yeah.
And his grates are Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because he saw my grates in the back of my room, and he goes, I think that's the grates we can do.
Nice.
So we pretty much lined the whole room with blue lights underneath, in the racks.
Yeah.
In the ceiling, we did the molded trim with recessed LEDs in there. And the reason why when this whole experience is Western, but then you get in there, it's modern. Number one is because it's all this high-tech equipment. And I didn't think it would look cool to have old, nasty wood with roofs and trying to build facades just to have a gear room.
Right.
And he does bring guests back there. That is part of the experience in the tour. So when you're running around in Westworld, or I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
It's really Tombstone.
I know. So why did you mention Westworld?
Because when we first started this project, I've always loved Westworld, the movie from the 70s and the television series. So we called it Operation Westworld.
Yeah.
That was the name of it, the project, this whole room. So the technical side in the back, is what made it more modern. But as, we moved down the road months into it when he was home more and he kept calling it Tombstone. So today it's a Tombstone.
Yeah.
To me, it's Westworld.
Right.
And don't
We
you
won't
ever,
tell him.
Don't tell him. It's Westworld.
Yeah.
So it just has a whole nother feel to it when you open it up and you're like, oh wow, it's modern, it's cool looking.
Yeah.
And I think it looks neat being modern.
Yeah.
And our control 4 panels.
Yeah.
We had to have a place to put them, and he wanted to see them like mine. The acrylic covers and the backlighting. So That runs half of the house,
Sure.
and he has modules on the other end of the house that runs the other half.
Yeah. But even as you walk out, though,
Yeah.
Tully did have to have some cowboy stuff in there.
There's a
On the left side.
the pictures.
Yeah.
What it is a friend of ours gave us an old DVD movie that came with a special set that had these limited edition photographs
Nice.
that were in the case.
Oh, okay.
So I took them to
I knew there had to be a story
so
there,
I took
yep.
them to my friend who actually built all the signs for us.
Okay.
That he told you about all the names, all these signs.
Yeah.
Robert Smith, he's in Bunkie, Louisiana. He is a fantastic artist when it comes to painting.
Right.
He does artist restoration for damaged paintings
Sure.
and new stuff. So Robert created the signs. The carpenters, we gave him the molds, and he painted them. Also, with that as well, he took care of that as well for us and put the frame in it and set it up for us. And it's just a little extra, little yap for us, we call it down here, that you can eat on. Kind of like eating them crawfish.
Hey, we had some crawfish today. They were
Yes,
good.
they're spicy.
They were good. So looking around the room, I can't help but to look at like some of the decor, some of the things that really draw you into I'm in a town. And one of the things I really love is these windows, these really cool windows. You've got LED lighting behind them. You got curtains on them.
Yes.
Is there any like story there?
So on the windows, the first thing that I seeked out for was, how can I do a solid backlight? Now, I only have 1.5 foot up there, and 2x4s are eating up with some of the build out, and I actually went with American Lighting. It's a 1x2 solid LED pad.
Right.
It's a bicolor light, and it's stuck to some plywood, and it gives you a solid wash.
Right.
So we also built the windows. They're removable, believe it or not. You can get access to everything in here.
Nice.
It's not easy with ladders to do it, but I can pull those windows out with a screwdriver.
Right.
And basically the windows were worked in reverse. We built shadow boxes, and my assistant who helped me with Star Wars, we went to the fabric store. We bought the fabric. We sat here and cut it.
Yeah.
We would have our staple guns going. I bought some of the opaque acrylic panels that we cut and we put it. So I'm trying to diffuse that light so you don't see the little individual points.
Yeah.
I want it to be solid.
Right.
And I need it to be warm.
Yeah.
So I want it to look like that when you come in here in the street scene that there's someone living above with the lights on. And that's how we pulled that gag off up top.
Nice.
And like I said earlier, the windows are not the same size. It's forced perspective.
Right.
And we're tricking you. They're really little.
You've thought through like every aspect of this, like so many intricate details.
Soundproofing. I mean, we have so many avenues here, Michael, that you know, his soundproofing's a little different than mine, and he didn't want to use the MLV acoustic block, but we did go with a 5/8 sheetrock. We went with 3/4 inch MDF, and his walls are hand stuffed with cellulose, 330 bags of it, and it does a great job of. You know what he told me? I said, now Tully, no, we're going to soundproof this so that it won't irritate anybody in the house. He goes, well, I really don't care what anybody thinks. When I'm in here watching a movie, it's for me, and that's all I care about. Perfect. I said, now we do need to control keeping this loud bass in this room so it don't escape out. So he let me put up 2 layers of some thick protection, and it's helped. It really works. The cellulose, those guys, they hate me for dealing with it. We stuff it. We don't just blow it in there. We actually dump it, and we have pressers we press down, and we compact it tight as you can get it to make it dense.
Makes it real dense,
Yeah, it keeps that sound trap from passing through. Another thing that we have to contend with in here is the air conditioning unit. That when it comes on, it's quiet. You don't hear it.
I don't hear it now. I feel it.
So it's got a unique silent baffle system, very similar to mine. The air unit for the hallway and for in here is on one unit, And then the amp room is actually on an air unit. And he, by the way, he has the Samstown upstairs,
Okay.
like I have.
Right.
It's where all his 12 volt or 24 volt to AC adapters live.
Okay.
Nothing lives in here with us or behind everything. It's
Right.
all mounted on a wall, labeled.
Right.
And then we run low voltage down wire to get to all the LEDs. So step lights, I'm using the same trick. I'm using these little 5-degree narrow beam down angles to light up our steps
Okay.
when the room's in dark for a movie, so you can see to get out. The handrails we cloned after me to help get up and down.
Right.
And then the memorabilia. I mean, some of this, you know, the whiskey barrels,
Yeah.
the rope, the chaps.
Yep.
You know, and then we got the Wells Fargo box.
Yeah.
That's an authentic box that came from out in Odessa, Texas, from my
nice.
great uncle.
Right.
The gun in the cabinet that he has, that he was talking about earlier, that I gave him as a gift, that's a Lamat pistol. It's a percussion fired.
Okay.
It's a 9-shot 41 caliber percussion. That means you have to dump the gunpowder, the wad, and the bullet.
Okay.
And you use the front of the barrel to push down and
Right. Yeah, I've
compress it.
seen people do that. Yeah, yeah. Make their own bullets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the centerpiece is basically a shotgun.
Okay.
So you can cock that gun and turn the trigger, the hammer, and either you're going to strike the center for the shotgun, or you can flick it up with your thumb
What?
and strike all 9 cylinders.
No way.
So the gun is the gun used by Ed Harris
Okay.
in Westworld. And I started tracking them down, and I found 2 Lamats. I have one for my collection, and I found Tully one that we have displayed in the end cabinet.
Yeah.
So a couple other pieces we have is I have some Indian relics that drum, I think in the end, if y'all got it,
Yeah.
that came from a reservation
Right.
from a friend of mine. And I think the other thing I have that we have to show in here is the chairs. The bench that you sit on earlier,
Right.
that bench was in a local store from our paint supplier,
Okay.
which is Kinder Paint, and it was up top. And one day I was in the paint in the back, and I was up looking, and I seen it. I said, "Hey, who does this belong to?" "Oh, that's my dad's, you know." I said, "Well, it looks like it's ruining up here."
Yeah.
"Oh, he'll probably just throw it in the dumpster, get rid of it." "I want it."
Wow.
So we took it, packed it out, gave it to our interior decorator, and she had it recovered, refinished. And I told her I wanted it to look old,
Right,
but
yeah.
here's our new fabric we're going
Sure.
to pick out. And then the chair in the end of the hallway has been recovered.
Right.
So those are some neat elements to add to when you're the experience coming in,
Yeah.
you know, that added that little flair.
Sure.
So, and that's kind of it's kind of the management style I have is get my brain spinning.
Sure.
And then I can start researching, where can I buy this? Where do I get this? And how can I get it? The little projector lamp that you see shining on Clint Eastwood.
Right.
It took me days to find that because I want to be able to frame just him.
Right.
Anybody could just light up a painting, Michael.
Sure. Yeah.
I wanted to not see anything else but that gold frame. Of course, you know, you work with your electricians to wire it all in. And they're all looking at me like, "Where did you find this?"
Right.
Probably China. We've been waiting for months to come on a boat.
Right.
Atlanta Theater, once again, shout out to their team.
Yeah.
Excellent job. Lulu, you met him.
Yep.
And Joe Arnold with Arnold Electric. The painters did a great job. Even the Cody LeBlanc
Yep.
from Lafayette, Louisiana, or Scott, Louisiana,
Sure.
did the cabinets and the gun boxes. Phenomenal cabinet maker. Built all the cabinet works in my house. Done all the cabinets for Tully's house. Apollo LED lighting for a lot of the lighting I've used with them.
Yeah.
American lighting, Lotus lighting,
Yeah.
and I can't remember who his theater chairs are made by.
These here?
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't know.
they're the same brand as mine
Okay.
at the Star Wars room.
Right.
Um,
And you don't know which ones you own.
that's bad.
That's real bad.
You know what that's a sign of?
What is it?
That dessert we had after the crawfish. It got us, didn't it?
It did. It
So
did.
yeah, I mean that's our problem, Michael. We're getting old.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to do another theme room.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
It really consumes your brain cells, your time, your energy.
Yeah.
This was about 5 months in here.
Right.
I live next door,
Yeah.
practically, so it's coming over here. And if someone asked me, hey, would you build another one in the future? If I build a new house, and that question has came up,
Sure.
I'm gonna build the house bigger.
Right.
I'm gonna build the theater room bigger, but I think I'm gonna go with a black velvet box.
Just like a void.
No theme.
Yeah.
You can walk in and not see nothing but the screen.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my next theater room in the future.
But you gotta admit, this is just so
yes.
cool, man.
You know, you've heard me say about Disney. I love going to Disney World, and I love everything about Disney and their buildings.
Yeah.
And Brad was telling me earlier, it reminds him of Frontierland.
Yep.
So, of course, I go to Frontierland and take pictures of everything, get ideas.
Yeah.
So, and I've done it, and it's all about having a team.
Yeah.
I can't do this by myself.
No way.
Atlanta could build this all by themselves,
But they have a team though.
but they have to have a team to build it.
Not one person's doing
And
it.
I have to have a team of people, and they're great. These people are incredible to work with. I can't speak. I mean, these guys are wonderful.
Yeah.
And they know usually when I come in here and say, hey, with the electrician, I think we want to take and we want to run this to this. And you think we can get a wire down this? And Lulu's like, I don't know, Charlie, we'll try. An hour later, hey, I got it. Great.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have this, and it's all just everybody coming together, working together.
Yeah.
And of course, the look on, my father-in-law's face whenever the calibrations were done and him coming in here
Sure.
and turning on a movie and demoing it. And I noticed today we were on this Kaleidescape and
Yes.
it was just loaded with Westerns.
All his Westerns. Dog.
Yes.
Every single one of them, man. You go
Westerns.
through, it was like John Wick 4.
John Wick 4 was the only one that was, Top Gun.
Okay.
Top Gun 2 was the
couple
only two
modern
modern.
ones.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
But again, he built this for him.
for him.
And he's like, Michael, sometimes I just come in here and this is just my downtime.
Yes.
And he'll watch his favorite film. And
I think we have a picture of him, you in the B-roll, where we were working and he had a lawn chair in the very back and he's just sitting in it, sleeping while we were cutting and sawing.
Yeah. And this was a dream for him. And you and so many other people helped make that dream come true.
Oh, and I want to add one thing. All of this was done, but you got to keep in mind that we've got 3 hallways to get down. So how do you get the wood in here? You ever thought about that?
No.
We had to cut a hole in the wall.
No way.
We cut a hole in his theater room
Right.
before it, and it was our work hole.
Yeah.
And basically, we made Jeff made it on the other side of his brickwork a fake shutter window. So that was our doorway for months. That's how we would get 16-foot, 22-footers in here.
Sure.
Otherwise, you can't make the turns down 3 hallways.
Sure.
I didn't know if you ever caught
No,
that.
I wouldn't have ever thought of that.
I forgot about that, and we worked reverse. We had to get everything it would take to build that proscenium wall.
Right.
All those 2x12s and all of that plywood had to be stacked in the back, and then we started closing the hole backwards.
Sure.
And once we closed that hole off, you're not bringing any. The only thing we could get down the hallway was 12 feet. That was it. That was our max width to make down the hallways.
Yeah.
So that was another strategic thing that we had to deal with. It's been a great experience, and we're so glad that you came up. And
This has been a joy. I mean, and so many other things. Meeting Tully, hanging out with you, hanging out with Michelle. She cooked us some great crawfish boil. I ate crawfish for the first time. It was amazing.
You had gumbo, Louisiana gumbo for lunch.
I did. We saw some wild horses.
The wild
I didn't get
horses.
a chance to pet them. One was looking at me like, I dare you to step closer. So I'm like, okay, I'll keep my distance, but I got about 15 foot from them. We all have a beautiful neighborhood. You've got a beautiful family, and you've got a beautiful story. And I hope that I've done Tully's story justice. I know this video is way different. It's a different vibe. I'm not the hype man in this video. I'm not, getting real crazy loud. I just wanted to capture this. I wanted to share that. And so I'm so grateful that I get a chance to do this and kind of bring you guys into Tully's life, into Charlie's life, and just see into the heart of what goes behind passion. And hopefully, you know, you may not be doing a theater room this scale, but I hope you find something that you're passionate about and dare to dream a little bit, you know? If you want to do a themed one, do a themed one. If you want to do a void room, do a black void room. If you want to just make a little man cave, make a man cave. But whatever it is, chase that dream. Don't let anybody stop you. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you do, let me know in the comments below what your favorite part of it was, and take some of that inspiration and apply it to your own home theater. Hope you guys have an incredible week. God bless. We'll catch you in the next video.